Welcome to Access Denied Deck Profiles. Today we are going over Locked in Hell, a Biel's King of the Dark Dragons deck. This deck is fairly simple. What you're going to do with it is you're going to go for Plague Spreader and Malicious. So, to start things off, we have Sky Scourge Norealis. This is to wipe the whole entire field without causing any types of effects to go off. This card cannot be normal summon or set. This card cannot be special summon except by removing from play 1 light fairy type monster and 3 dark fiend monsters in your graveyard. You'll notice that those summoning conditions are not met by this deck. You can pay 1,000 life points to send all cards on the field and in both players' hands to the graveyard, then draw 1 card. We're going to have this effect go off with Phantom of Chaos. Any battle damage your opponent takes from battles involving this card becomes 0. Once per turn, you can target 1 effect monster, that's going to be Norealis here, in your graveyard, banish that target, and if you do, until the end phase, this card's name and attack become that monster's name and attack and gains that monster's effects. You must control this face-up card to activate and resolve this effect. So, when your opponent is least expecting it, usually at the start of the duel, we're going to get rid of everything. And if we're mid-game setup, we're going to get 1 card back, and we can go off of Plague Spreader. So, because this deck is based around the graveyard, it's going to fail automatically to anything that kind of shuts that down. So let's go over it again. So we have Sky Scourge Norealis, Destiny Hero Malicious, Dark Grepher for pitching and being able to summon it using these 2 monsters here. Armageddon Knight for more pitching. It's also level 4, which gives us rank 4 access with these 2 monsters. And also with Phantom of Chaos when things go kind of awry. Of course, Plague Spreader. And that finishes out the monster count at 18. Getting into the spells, we have Dark Eruption, Allure of Darkness, Reinforcements of the Army, Dark Hole, Soul Charge, Dark World Dealings at 3, Foolish Burial. That rounds it out at 12 spells. Skilled Prisoner, running in 3, Dark Illusion. This card is amazing. Negate the activation of a spell, trap card, or effect monster's effect that targets, keyword there, targets a face-up dark monster and destroy that card. So this is also a spell speed 3 card, being a counter trap, which means it gets around a lot of stuff. You can use it to get around Breakthrough Skill. Next up is Black Horn of Heaven, also spell speed 3, and Solemn Warning, spell speed 3. Getting into the extra deck, I use this deck to tag a lot. So we have Draco Necro, Nether Soul Dragon, the new Bielzas, the Ultimate Diabolical Dragons. It's actually fairly easy to form this using, especially very early game. Going through setup, I tend to get Dark Grepher and Armageddon Knight on the field. So if I really want to, I can go ahead and activate Plague Spreader, and that gives me a total of 10 levels with a tuner, a dark tuner at that. So I can just go into him and wreak havoc. Of course, BL's King of Dark Dragons, Void Ogre Dragon, because you're actually going to be playing with no hand much of the time, and after you blow up the field, you're not going to have a hand. So the next card that your opponent draws, you're going to be able to negate. So that gets you a free turn by going into him. Again, you're not going to have a hand a lot of the time, so Infernity Doom Dragon is viable. Red Dragon Archfiend for clearing out the offensive monsters. Scrap Dragon combos with BLs and allows you to pop a card for free each turn because it can't be destroyed. Then for those little sticky monsters you can't destroy or get rid of quite properly, we have Dark End Dragon. Using Sirius the Blue Wolf Star to get over extremely high attack monsters, and as sort of a ladder up with Plague Spreader. For those crazy ass lock decks, we have number 22 Franken to take 2 level 8 synchro monsters, freeing up a free slot. I've noticed that this actually does happen a lot. with trolley decks, because on DevPro you get more creative decks, so the meta there you can't really predict for. So you get these decks that kind of lock you in some way, where you can't use your monsters and they're stuck on the field, so you can't make better monsters or get your effects to go off. Dark Line Warrior, Kanagoran Anti-Luminescent Knight. This card is amazing. With Dark Grepher and Armageddon Knight, usually I can go into this monster, has decent attack power. It can get over Monarchs, most level 5 or 6 monsters, and it has a decent body where it can get over most rank 4 monsters, but its effect during either player's turn, which is very key there. When another card or effect is activated that targets exactly one card on the field and no other cards, you can detach one XYZ material from this card, then target another card on the field that would be appropriate, keyword, appropriate target for that card/effect. That card/effect now targets the new target. People try to play MST, Mystical Space Typhoon, to destroy a card on my back row while this card is face up, and I just flip it around and cause them all types of damage. Sometimes they try to target my BLs with 101, and I have it take the knight instead, and then run over their 101 with BLs. Of course, your normal 101, and then the other BLs, Evil Swarm Exciton Knight, for those sticky situations where I can't get to Sky Scourge Norealis. He does the job. Sky Scourge is better, but this gets the job done too. For the extra deck, 3 Nutgargana, Dragon's Mirror, 2 Mystical Space Typhoons, Zombie Whirl, that's why this guy's there, a Breakthrough Skill, Mental Drain, for those hand trap heavy decks, lots of Veilers, can't have that. And then my tech is Judgment of Anubis. When your opponent activates a spell card that would destroy a spell/trap card on the field, discard 1 card, negate the activation, and if you do, destroy it. When you can destroy one face-up monster your opponent, then you can destroy one face-up monster your opponent controls, and if you do, inflict damage to your opponent equal to destroyed monster's attack on the field. This thing wrecks Shaddolls. They hate it. Because what happens is, they toss, the lizard or something or other, to get rid of my traps, which are critical. Very critical. They're high-speed traps. And then pop up for monster. Now, they get the effects, but it puts them in an inconvenience, which is something you really need to understand. That's why Raigeki is a good card, this format. And then it does damage, which just speeds up what I'm trying to do. With high attack power monsters that can't be destroyed by normal means, they're going to be taking a lot of damage, and they honestly can't afford any type of extra burn damage. So, siding into this helps out a lot. I don't know what else I'm going to put in here, but this is how far I've gotten. I built this deck specifically around Beelze, the King of Dark Dragons, when it came out, and I've enjoyed it. It's a very dark, evil deck, and I hope you've enjoyed this deck profile. Access denied, connection terminated.